So when it appears to be custom, I yet again forget that the chapter of Boku no Hero Academia was due to release yesterday, and so I recorded One Piece as if nothing else had happened that day. Today, here I am to bring you now the live reaction of this week's Boku no Hero chapter 118 of its name, A Meaningless Fight. And indeed, the fight that started last chapter is nothing but meaningless. So let us begin. Okay, so we have a patrol robot. Two 1A students confirmed at ground beta after curfew. A class homeroom teacher Eraserhead extension 8. Yo Eraserhead. Two of your students are at ground beta, negligent supervision. Come take responsibility and discipline them. Are you serious? Seriously serious? I don't like this robot. Okay. What in the world could they be? Okay, someone stop the Eraserhead. Who? Could it be All Might? We've seen last chapter that All Might was aware of the fight. So, okay, and the battle ensues. Do we really have to fight? It doesn't mean your aspirations were wrong. No one is saying that. He's right. No one said that. It just assumed that. It just seems like a perfect excuse for him to become a villain. Jesus. So now he's remembering. Even though I always gave you as you trailed, even though no matter how many times I beat on you, you would still tag along behind me. Don't run away, fight me. Even though we admire the same person. Let me tell you something. Self-confidence is an extremely important thing. You have the power fitting of a hero, no doubt about it. I understand it's because of young Midoriya's sudden growth, but you know, someone at level 1 and someone at level 50 can't possibly grow at the same rate, right? That be true. Try starting a new RPG at level 1 and you'll see what's grinding. Ooh. Ooh. Stealing a page from Midoriya's books, are we? Jesus. He faked the punch and then went for the kick. Ooh. Bam. Jesus, this is a sight to see. Well, please, thank you. Gee. Bakugou lost his balance. Jesus. This is the real problem Gachan has. He can't stand being pitied. That's what's the problem. That's the problem here. He can't stand pity. Like because he considers himself like the strongest. He can't take being down, being in need of help. So that's always the problem. And since Midori always does this, that's why he's freaking pissed because he can't stand that. Why? How did I end up chasing the back of a numbskull who was always trailing behind me? A small fry like you getting stronger and being recognized by All Might, even though I was getting stronger too. So why did I become the reason for All Might's end? Okay. So this is why what this is about. He thinks he's the guy that made All Might lose and become like that. He's blaming himself for what happened. So, Jesus. If I had been stronger, if I hadn't been kidnapped by the villains, then none of that would have ever happened. All Might was trying to keep it a secret, he couldn't tell anybody, but even though I try not to think about it, the slightest accident would make it all come flooding out. I have no idea what I should do. Oh. So this is what this was about. He was blaming himself for what happened to All Might, of course. I gotta say, I never thought Bakugou to be the kind of person that would think like this. I guess I misvalued his admiration for All Might. It appears that he really admires All Might. I always thought that admiration was like the sort of I'm gonna surpass you, I'm gonna be better than you. I admire you, sure, but I'm gonna be better than you. I never thought it was this deep of an admiration. I would expect this attitude from Midoriya, never from Bakugou, which is good to see, which means that there's still hope that he won't turn to the dark side of the Force. Um, but at the same time, it gives a new depth to the character, not the chapter. Sorry, it gives a new depth to the character. Because at least for me, I never expected Bakugo to have an attitude like this. So he's been carrying this burden this whole time, even more than I was all this time. He was troubled by it, it was on his mind the whole time. Do we really have to fight? You don't. As the name of the chapter implies, this is a meaningless fight. This fight might very well be a meaningless one. Who would say? And it may not matter who wins or loses, but I know in this moment that I have to do this. Man, that kick! Alright, then I wanted to see if shoot style would work well against you anyway, because right now the only person who can receive Kachan's feelings is me. If you want to go there, then there's no holding back. Embracing those feelings head on. Boku no Hero Academy at chapter 118. It's done. Now, this is indeed a meaningless fight. I mean, even the next chapter will be meaningless in terms of who wins or who loses. But, as Midoriya stated, this is not a battle that it matters who wins or loses. It's a fight, it's a battle to convey feelings. And it's one of those typical battles when one side is so upset and so self depressing that they think that the only way they can take that out is through fighting. Imagine Sasuke versus Naruto, the very first Sasuke versus Naruto battle. It was like that. It was almost precisely the same because Sasuke was like, "Oh yeah, I'm so alone and no one understands that, and I'm so powerful that there's no one as powerful as me in the Genins." And then Naruto comes along and says, "Hey, oh boy, I'm alone since birth. Oh, my father and mother died when I was born." And Naruto was also getting stronger, as strong, if not stronger, than Sasuke, and that prompts Sasuke to leave the Leaf Village and go to Orochimaru's side, and eventually all that ensued. And think to a certain extent, Usopp versus Luffy in One Piece Usopp was blaming himself for the loss of the money if he had been stronger, if he hadn't been beaten by Frankie's family. And he was grieving for Mary as well. And then he thought that the only way to actually do something about it was to fight Luffy, which was completely stupid. I assume that there might be Gray versus Natsu just recently in Fairy Tail. That stupid fight that lasted for like 5 minutes, but yeah, that meaningless fight. Gray was grieving for Juvia, even though she was and is well alive. Um, he was fighting versus Natsu, who was also thinking that Lucy was dead, but she's not. And it was a meaningless fight, but they both thought in their stupid minds of theirs that they needed to fight. Uh, Another example: Ban versus Meliodas in the Seven Deadly Sins, when Ban learned that Meliodas is a demon. He blamed not that when he discovered when the druids or the witches, someone told him that if he killed Meliodas they would bring Elaine back, and so Ban, clouded with the grief and the want to see Elaine again, tried to kill his best friend. It's what's happening here again. Kachan is blaming himself, and he thinks that the only way to get rid of that blame is to actually fight against the guy that All Might protects and cares for. It's just a typical case of favoritism, because All Might favored Midoriya. And I'm not saying that that's wrong. If that wasn't the case, we wouldn't have Boku no Hero Academy as manga. So Kachan is just taking that to the next level and really clouding himself with a blame that he does not have, because it's not his fault. Sure, if he was stronger, maybe that could have been avoided, but he's a kid. He's like what? 18? Not even 18 years old. I don't even know the ages of the Boku no Hero Academy characters, but I would say mid 16s and 18s tops, not more than that. It's easy to fool a 16-year-old kid. Very easy, even if he has explosions coming out of his hands. So even if he was stronger and older, that wouldn't mean that he would not be captured. Villains have a way to twist things. Heck, one of the villains can transform into an exact copy of a hero, voice and all. That's like the mystique of Boku no Hero Academy. Except that Mystique doesn't need blood, and this girl needs blood, but tiny wee little difference. But I think Bakugou is blaming himself for nothing, because manga purposes aside, it had to happen. The villains are resourceful, and we've seen from the time when he was kidnapped that there really was nothing they could have done. Unless they had like a platoon of heroes like Eraserhead, Endeavor, All Might, yes, All Might, the top like 6 or 7 heroes to match up with the villains. Even the heroes that were there, the cat fellows, they didn't do much. And they are heroes. They are top. I mean, I don't know if they are top heroes, but they are licensed heroes. Even the kids did more than that. Again, that's manga purposes, but it has a sense of truth behind it. So, I hope you guys have enjoyed this chapter. I certainly did. It helped me change my view on Bakugou a little bit. As I said, I never expected that the reason why Bakugou started all this commotion was because of he actually blaming himself for what happened to All Might. I never thought that. For me, I never phantom Bakugou as the kind of guy who could hold such feelings. I'm gonna be honest. For me, Bakugou was always that narrow-minded guy who would one day run out of space to grow and would look for new heights. and then that's when he would change to the villain side. Maybe that's still gonna happen, but I think the chances are slightly weaker now than they were before. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. I hope you guys have enjoyed the chapter as much as I have. Please tell me in the comment section down below what you think about this sudden change of Bakugou's mind and feelings. Have you always thought Bakugou could be suffering from feelings like this? Or are you like me? Have you ever thought that you always thought that Bakugou was just a guy who was in it for the glory and the power, and he would one day turn to the dark side of the Force? That's it, guys. That concludes this week of chapters. Next week we come into the the pre-last week of chapters of 2016. So very eager to see that. And I hope you guys have enjoyed it. Please tell me in the comment section down below what you think about this video, its quality, and my overall performance. As I always say, the comment section down below is just views and the views. And I'll see you guys next week. Have a nice weekend.